Hello, my darlings, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Miranda, and I am the Enchantress of Avalon. And as today, when this video goes live, it is November 11th, which is a portal all its own, 1111 portal. I'm not getting into that. But I am going to talk about, in this video, the mirror of the soul, because we are firmly ensconced in the darkest time of the year. We have gone through Samhain and all of the death honoring that entails, and now we're in to the truly darkest part of the year, that time between Samhain and Yuletide, that time of utter darkness before the light returns. Right now we're still in late fall, but we are going into early winter, and it's the perfect time to really do that introspection and that shadow working. So that's why the topic is Mirror of the Soul today. But as usual, I do want to start with a reminder that I do have a White Rose of Avalon online shop on my website, whiteroseofavalon.life, and I sell herbal teas, and I also provide tarot reading services. And my herbal teas, as you can see, are the perfect size to be a great little stocking stuffer for someone. And who doesn't like tea, you know? Most people will be genuinely pleased to receive an herbal tea. And as for my tarot readings, given all of the shadow issues that are coming up this time of year, it's the perfect time to order a reading if you are feeling uneasy about something. Now that I have my brief little thing out of the way, Patreon. I didn't mention Patreon. I also have a Patreon, and I actually do tarot readings on Patreon monthly for my Owl and Raven tiered members. Now that I'm done with that little spiel, let's get into the topic at hand. So, what is the mirror of the soul? The mirror of the soul is that mirror that really exists within each of us, in the depths of our being. It's that inner well of truths and wisdom that we hold within us. This isn't something that everyone chooses to access, because you have to deal with shadow issues to really access the wisdom within. But it is important to work through your shadow issues when you're ready. Okay, so why is the mirror of the soul so important to work with, especially during the dark half of the year? Because the dark half of the year, everything starts to close up. We are spending more time indoors, more time literally going within ourselves. It's darker for longer, and traditionally in ages past, that darkness made it very, very dangerous to be out in nature and out in the wilderness, outside at all, during the night and during the dark hours, because predators could get to you a lot easier when you couldn't see and they could. And by extension, even regular people today, where we have, lights that we can bring with us into the darkness, we tend to stay indoors more when there are more dark hours in the day. And right now, there are more dark hours in the day than light hours. And that leads then to the internal introspection. All of these issues we're beginning to have are coming to light more right now, especially as we're leading into the holiday season. People tend to get very stressed with preparing for the holidays. So that stress of the holiday season amplifies the need to figure out what's going on inside yourself. Not everyone is ready to do that, but that's also why people have a hard time during the holiday season, is the unwillingness to take that pause, that natural pause, and sit with your emotions. And that's what Scrying the Mirror of the Soul is. It is taking that time to pause and sit with our emotions. It is going within, feeling what we're naturally feeling, confronting shadow issues going on, and finding our internal treasures, because that is how we ultimately will gain sovereignty. So, it's obvious that scrying the mirror of the soul and working with this internal mirror is something that is deeply personal and deeply important to me, as I am a priestess of both Morgan Le Fay and Melusine, and they are goddesses intimately linked with that watery, mermaidy, soul mirror energy. And they, in their darker aspects, are great guides into that darkness within each of us. Remember, dark isn't bad. Dark is unknown. And in bringing the dark into the light, we will be able to actively use that. We can alchemize the pain, the trauma, and the fears found within our shadows to make ourselves stronger and help us to navigate the world better, make better choices moving forward. And I do want to talk about the fact that it is not only the negative things found in our shadow. It's not only our unresolved traumas and our pain and our impulses that we don't want to give into found within the shadow. It's also the seat of our unrecognized aspects of self that could be very good. Our aspects of self we don't see in us. Others may see it, that we are, say, very, very nurturing and very giving of ourselves, and we're constantly doing these selfless acts, maybe even to the detriment of ourselves, but then still have a very negative self-image. Those good things, the willingness to help and to nurture others, is therefore a shadow aspect in ourselves. It is that thing that we are not recognizing within us because we are clouded with our own preconceptions of who we are. So in confronting the shadows, it's also admitting to ourselves those positive aspects we've never recognized within ourselves. And it will allow us to more profoundly work with those aspects, and also to do so in a more balanced way, so that you're not just selflessly giving everything you have and burning yourself out. Because anyone working in a spiritual path and walking a spiritual path will know that spiritual burnout is very much a real thing, and it often comes from overdoing. And that overdoing, if it's a nurturing side of things, could mean that you're pouring out all of this to other people, but not nurturing yourself too. So that causes burnout. This confrontation of the shadow and the scrying of the mirror of the soul will allow you to do this in a more balanced way and realize where these shadow patterns are impacting you, and maybe even impacting your well-being down the line. So the final little portion of this video is going to be some ways to scry the mirror of the soul. You can do this through meditation, especially if you're meditating with a deity that is associated with this. As I said, for me, that would be Morgan and Melusine, having those darker, deeper energies about them. They're ideal guides into our own unconscious and subconscious realms. they can help be that light in the darkness, leading you forward. But whatever deities you personally find comforting and that you have a lot of trust in, great guides. It could also be anyone on your spiritual team. It could be a guardian of some sort. It can be an ancestor, whoever is there and wanting to help you realize unrealized potential and heal unhealed wounds, can lead you through this meditative practice to heal some things. You can also do all sorts of divinatory techniques, including tarot readings. Even getting tarot readings from other people can help with this, especially if they do channeled readings. I myself do channeled readings with fairy queens, but some will do channeled readings with any spirit that you would like to contact to do this. You can do this through working with tasseomancy, tea leaf reading, through working with runes, or of course through mirror scrying. And for me, scrying into a black obsidian mirror is one of the most profound ways to literally scry the mirror of the soul, because it's very easy for me to astral project while mirror scrying. And if you actually get into a spiritual realm, sometimes you're able to contact parts of yourself you wouldn't normally contact, which then will lend aid in confronting these shadow responses. And the absolute final thing that you could do is a very beautiful practice of doing a fear inventory, which is to sit with yourself and really acknowledge everything that is causing anxiety right now and writing it down. And then you're going to read through each of them, really sit with each fear that you're having and wanting to release. That's the important thing. You want to release each of these fears. And then you're going to fold up the piece of paper and you're going to light it on fire and put it in a fireproof container of some sort. Please, please, please put this in a fireproof container. Be careful if you're doing this, if you're burning anything, obviously. It's often best done outside for that reason, if you're allowed to burn things outside. But it is a beautiful thing. And if you don't want to burn it because there is danger with that, you could also just rip it up and flush those pieces of paper down the toilet or something. Put it into a paper shredder. Whatever works for you. But getting rid of those things and saying, okay, these shadow feelings, these fears and anxieties, I want to purge them. But you have to really mean it. And that's also where working with a deity to do this helps, or any other spiritual guardian and guide, is to say, I'm offering you all of this energy, these fears and anxieties. Please take them, and hopefully you'll start to feel a little lighter after doing this. But even just the acknowledgement and the process of writing that stuff out helps you gain awareness. And awareness is what will lead to eventually alchemizing those fears. So I do hope you have enjoyed this video about the mirror of the soul and doing some shadow work for the dark half of the year. And I do hope that it's given you some tips and tricks to do so. But again, do this very carefully and don't push yourself farther than you may feel ready to go. Shadow work is intense and it's not something to be taken lightly. All right, so have a very wonderful week, everyone.